we have to learn to submit our lives to God and to accept what happens to us on a daily basis with the most patience that we can muster. But I'd like to move on to another question to ask you. Why is it that Muslims, when they emigrate, for example, in UK, there are many immigrants, Muslim immigrants in UK. They seem to choose UK. Why don't they choose a Muslim country?
Yeah, well, that's an interesting question. That I would always say to the people, you've got to look at the reason for them moving to begin with. It's not where they're choosing to move; it's the reason for them to begin with. So the if you look at history, for example, you want to look at Britain, or you want to look at the US, and you want to look at the end of the 1900s, for example, or you look at the 1800s and the end of the 1900s, and you look at world wars, and you see that 90% of African countries, including, we're talking about North Africa and South Africa, we're just talking about African countries in general, including Middle Eastern countries, were under occupation. You mentioned Morocco, which was under occupation by the French. You mentioned Algeria, which was over 100 years occupied by the French. You mentioned India, which was under occupation by the British. And you look at these same people coming to these countries are the same people coming to the countries of their occupiers, by definition. Because what these occupiers did, right? You look at Iraq, for example, people coming from Iraq and these type of countries. And you look at what the invasion that took place, claiming that there is weapons of mass destruction, which is just a lie that was used both by the Americans and the Brits to go and steal the goods and destroy a country which was fine. So when you have the US and you have Britain and you have the UN and all of these countries that make up the UN involving their business 24 hours until this day in the Middle East by trying to cause first the discord and problems, internal problems within these countries, and externally controlling their politics and controlling, who's in power, who can do what, and what you cannot do this without our permission. We didn't give you permission. In the name of freedom, we need to give you permission first in order for you to do any of these things. So when you have these countries they colonized these countries, they took their goods, they destroyed them, and they caused them to reach that level that they're in today in complete economic destruction. Not only economic destruction, but the infrastructure itself of these countries are completely decimated as well. Those people are forced to move to a better country just for living purposes. Not that they love this country, not that they love the values in this country, not that they say we want to be free and we're being oppressed, as some Westerners try to convince themselves, and say these people are coming for our freedom. Go ask them. None of them are going to come for freedom reasons. They're coming for financial reasons, because their country is destroyed. They no longer have the capacity to make enough money in their own country. So they're forced now to travel and migrate to these countries.
But I'm not so keen to talk to you about politics or colonialism or imperialism.